Um, Thanks to everybody who can join us. And we're here on a Sunday. It's the day after SummerSlam, so we'll probably touch on that a little bit. But before we get started on that, Rudy, how you been, man?
Oh man, SummerSlam was cool. It was
Yeah,
yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't the best it wasn't the best premium live event I've seen in a while, but uh but I was glad to see some things actually changed and some stuff unfortunately stayed the same.
I didn't.
Some stuff didn't work out as well as it probably should have.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch all of it, but you can probably fill in the gaps for me on some of the stuff, and I'll comment on what I did watch. So before we get started on that, though, I want to mention that I went to Target earlier today. Target is one of my places I like to go to just to like browse the clearance section. Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
I like Target items altogether, but that's one of my guilty pleasures is like going by the men's clothing or just like any of the areas that they have clearance stuff. And I don't really need anything, but I was just browsing today and wanted to send you a picture of an item I came across that I thought about picking up, but then whenever I picked it up, I realized there was like something about that item that I didn't think was going to be able to fit my style. So if I can send this over to you, should be getting that pretty soon. But anyways, yeah, I was at Target, and so yeah,
so go ahead.
well, let me just go on this, and then well, I went to Target and I was looking through the clothes, and I found some pants, and I was like, oh, cool, because they were like a steal, dude. They were like 9.99, and it was like normally like 35 something dollar pants, and the material looked kind of appealing. And I pulled it out, and it had all those like distressings on them, like all those like fashion rips and stuff. And I don't, have you has that ever happened to you where you go someplace and you think something looks cool and it's got like these all these crazy like I don't think I could ever pull that off honestly, like the distress
I
look.
I I I think I know why it's on clearance though. It's all torn up.
Yeah, it's if you can believe it, people actually like do that for like fashion or yeah, that's like I guess considered a cool look.
Well, I was gonna say, there's more than one reason why I don't think it would fit your style. Like, you see how tapered? I mean, how yeah, like how tapered they are at the bottom and stuff. They look like they would fit like capris and stuff on your
Yeah, yeah.
or on your cap.
I couldn't see I couldn't see like it's one of those things where you're just going through the rack and you see stuff and you see like the material and so you pull it out. And yes, not only that, just like the taper cut, but it's like there's all these distressings and stuff, and just like getting away from that pattern in general. Have you come across other clothing before that's got like that weird like fashion distressing or like those weird like like just cuts and just things that just seem like impractical?
Yeah. In fact, I think I actually own a pair of jeans somewhere that have like some distressed like stuff, but it's weird because you can't actually see my skin through it though. Like it's actually been patched behind it. So
So it almost looks.
it's not like that. It doesn't look like rats have eaten it. It just looks it doesn't look quite like that. If had you showed me this earlier, I would have brought them out so I could show you. I probably have to go find them.
Yeah,
Then again I was like 20 when I bought them. So I didn't make the wisest of choices back then.
I seen some one time at I was at a JC Penney one time recently, a few months back, and I saw like in the same thing they have like their clearance section is like hit or miss, and some stuff is just like hideous when it's in the clearance section, but every now and then you can find some decent stuff. And I remember going through the clearance rack, and there were some jeans that were so distressed. I mean, there was like huge. You can see like huge holes that you can see almost like your entire thigh in the front, and
Yeah.
like the knees were all shredded, and it's like, man, it's crazy that it's like the concept that people pay for the jeans like that, like you I don't know. It's like you almost could just make them yourself, I guess. But I guess people don't have the either they don't have the patience to wear them out naturally, or they just they want them more in a certain way that looks like I'm not sure what the look that you're going for is that, but it's like you want to seem like you're more like you have less money than you actually have, or you want to seem like you're more rugged than you actually are. I'm not really sure.
I don't think that's the case. I think most people buy most fashion most fashion clothes for that because they think it looks, for lack of a better term, it looks cool. But I, I mean, I see a lot of women wear them. I like just the other day at Walmart. I was laughing at myself. It's weird that you sent me a picture of distressed jeans, but I saw this lady wearing them, and I thought, wow, like she had probably as big a holes as, I don't know if everybody else can see the ones that
I'll
you were
put it up.
gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, they were all over the place. So, but I could see everything through the gaps of these distressed holes or whatever you want to call them. Uh, you know, I know, like I think in high school, like you can't wear those anymore, like in public schools or whatever. They make you wear like they make. I say they make the girls wear leggings underneath, but I'm sure the guys still are apparently trying to wear them as well. I don't know if they wear leggings underneath. Uh, that's a whole other conversation. That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I don't know. It was just it. Apparently, I tried to buy a pair, but I certainly did. They weren't like that. So let's just leave it at that. They weren't like that. Maybe they are. I have to find them. Maybe I was a lot dumber than I than I remember when I was 20.
And those don't seem like the kind of jeans that you can wear like day in day out. You know, like I think people would notice if you were wearing them day in day out. They're like too much. I'm not a big fan of like the real attention grabbing stuff.
You
Like I
start
know
looking
people.
like the Brooklyn Brawler.
Yeah, like they're in a Halloween costume all week long or something. You know?
Yeah, yeah. You just start wearing your dirtiest shirts along with it. Like,
Yeah.
look, it's a whole look.
Get like an emo haircut or get like a. I think in the movies, have you ever seen the movies where they have
Or
like a
just
guy
don't,
with.
or just don't get a haircut.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't brush your hair. Just don't brush your teeth. Just leave it as is. The
Yeah,
freshly rolled out of the garbage look.
that shows that you don't care.
It's
It's you're above
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna go to my prom or my graduation either because I don't care.
That's pretty funny.
It's that look.
Brooklyn Brawler.
Uh,
Speaking of Brooklyn Brawler, man, you mentioned about SummerSlam on this. Was it yesterday? Oh, did
yeah,
you watch
yeah.
it all the way through, or did you? I picked it up. Shoot, I think I picked it up.
I am gonna admit I fast forwarded through one match. Honestly, it's because I just don't care. The Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. Like I just don't care.
Yeah,
Sami Zayn's intro music, ska music intro is
yeah.
just so, it reminds me of like like whenever the 1-800 what's that, Cars for Kids song comes on, I immediately turn it down because I can't stand the jingle. That's how I feel when Sami Zayn's match starts. I'm like, oh, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and fast forward through this.
You know, it's funny
Thank,
that you
thank.
mentioned that. I think that's where I started. I think that's where I picked it up. Actually, was that was the
Oh,
match? Yeah,
at its low.
yeah. I was in the valley at first. That's funny. That
Yeah, that
well,
yeah,
I can
that
at least
was
I can speak a little bit on that one. It was yeah, it was a little on the boring side, but I think I know we may have talked about this before off screen, but like Braun Breaker, like I think he almost should like lean into being one of the Steiners. Like I think that really appeals to people when they're like have like a pedigree to them. Like people are like sons and daughters of like wrestlers. I don't think it. I mean, I guess I could see how it could like feel like you're not building your own thing, but it's just like you want to give the fans what they want. You know, they want a sense of like a lineage going on. You want a sense of like connected storyline, sort of like even in the video games where you see like the characters start actually aging and progressing. You know, you start from like one Street Fighter to the next one, and to see that it's not the same thing over and over. To see certain characters get older, or like the kids of certain characters come in.
Right.
So I kind of think Braun's should lean into that, but
No, I think the WWE is recognizes that. Even though Braun Breaker doesn't want to say doesn't want to talk about his lineage, WWE just didn't care, and they just went ahead and showed the Legend Suite, and they're like, look, the Steiner brothers are here, and we're here to watch the match tonight. It's like hint hint, don't
well, I
forget
know.
this guy's a Steiner.
Yeah, I noticed that they made a mention of him doing the Frankensteiner. I thought that was real weird that they went out of their way to call it the Frankensteiner. So
Yeah.
I think maybe you're right on that.
Maybe they should have like an angle where the interviewers keep pestering him about the Steiners over and
Yeah,
over, just or keep Freudian slipping that he's a Steiner.
yeah, and I think also Sami Zayn. I don't have a problem with Sami Zayn. I do, but
He's boring.
yeah, I mean
He's
he's not.
he's honestly, I just think he's lame. Like his costume, his intro music. I
Well,
honestly I can't even think of a single. Does he have any finishing moves that are like
yeah,
I don't know.
he's got
I don't care.
the Helluva Kick, and it's supposed to be
What is that?
it's what Helluva when it's said a certain way, but whenever you see it written, it's written hell of a kick. But I think it's supposed to be like it's done like in a French Canadian accent.
Um,
It's the Helluva Kick.
well,
But
thank God all the French Canadians are probably cheering, but
he's got a big
uh,
fan. I think when they've gone to like it was a I don't know if he's from Toronto or Ontario, where he's from, but anyways, when they go up north, he gets like a bigger pop than normal. He's like
yeah.
with the Hart family, whatever. But
Oh, is he
no, no,
connected to the Hart family?
no. I just meant like he's in that.
Because he should do that then.
Yeah,
I
no,
might be interested in what's going on
yeah,
if he was part of them.
no,
They should bring back the Hart Foundation. Remember that? You didn't even
yeah.
have to be in the family. You could just be part of the Hart Foundation.
That's what they had him part of the bloodline for a while. I don't know if you caught that whenever he was part of the bloodline. Yeah, he was actually part of
Really?
the
No.
yeah,
See, I was out of wrestling for a long time. It
yeah,
wasn't until like a couple months ago that you and Daniel were talking about wrestling. That was like, let me see what's going on in wrestling
yeah,
because honestly, I stopped watching it when it got like I completely embraced the Attitude Era and the whatever the other eras were called. I didn't even know they were. I didn't even realize that those were eras until
yeah. Neither I,
really
yeah,
recently. But I embraced all those. But there was a point where I was just watching and I was like, oh, this has actually gotten for me, somebody who grew up watching wrestling, who was completely tone deaf to the like debauchery that was going on, it got trashy. Like
yeah.
I didn't really want to watch it. I was like, this is just trashy. Like we're talking about people's affairs, and it's like, nah, I'm good. It's not nothing I really want to watch.
I think it wasn't so much that it was like trashy, shocking. I think sometimes wrestling tends to be a little well, the storylines tend to be a little lowbrow sometimes. But
Yeah.
I think they've gotten a little bit better lately. But I know what you mean. There's a period of time when it was like very shock value, very like lowbrow storytelling, which is kind of funny if you embrace it for what it is, but it's not. It like it wasn't to a point where you could authentically like enjoy it. You enjoyed it more like in an ironic way because it was so lowbrow. But um, I fell out of it also for a while too, and it wasn't until like around I think the when they had the lockdowns during the pandemic,
Hmm.
like that happened to be one of the only things that was on TV still as a live event, and they were playing inside of like empty like it was inside their training center I think, and they were playing to like an empty crowd. Then eventually they had like a period of time where they had screens on all the seats out in the crowd,
Oh,
so it's like people like tuning in like that way.
yeah, I remember that. That was weird.
Mhm.
That was definitely an experiment.
Yeah,
But
that's like a thing that people probably never get to experience again, like unless you had some sort of event again. But um anyways, what I'm getting at is that yeah, Sami Zayn at the time, he was different. He was like a heel, and he was known as sort of like, I kind of liked him at first because he was sort of known as like a, not an opportunist, but he was like known as kind of like a sneaky kind of guy. Like that was a little bit of his persona, and then that's how he ended up getting kind of mixed in with the Bloodline. And then he was like a Bloodline member for a while. But whenever he was with the Bloodline, he was like kind of like a foppish kind of villain, like kind of like goofy at times, and like he was kind of funny. So I think that kind of like made him get over. So they turned him into a face, and then they eventually they brought over I think it's, I don't remember if it's Jay or Jimmy, which one. They're one of the ones that's the Yeet character now.
Okay, one
Eventually
of the
they
Uso brothers.
yeah, they turned him face also. So he started out. He was like I said, he was a little more interesting at first because he used to come out like in like a just like military like bucket hat, and he had like boots, and he. It seemed like the persona they were going to give him was that he was like a sneaky like double crossing kind of guy, but I guess they got away from that when they saw that like he was being funny and like fans were reacting to it, so they
It sounds
turned
a
him.
lot more interesting in being your description. Like I would tune in to see that Sami Zayn. This Sami Zayn is like when the Mash music came on at night. It's like, well,
Yeah,
I guess it's time to go to bed.
yeah. It's like you know you're just gonna be you even if it's not time to go to bed, you know you're organically gonna be falling asleep anyways. So you might as well just turn
Yeah,
off the TV, might as well turn off the lights.
yeah.
'Cause not
Oh yeah, yeah. It's bad, but yeah. SummerSlam. I noticed that a lot of the premium events have started off like a cold start with like championship matches because I don't know if you. I'm sure you remember when we were kids and we watched it. Like they always showed like all the undercard matches
yeah.
at the beginning, like the not whatever non-championship matches would usually what started it. But now they always have like a cold start. They had the um Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. They started off with that yesterday. And wow, you could tell like the focus was not on the match. It was completely on their love triangle situation going on.
See, I didn't
I
have a
don't know
chance
if
to
you
watch
knew.
that one. No.
Yeah, I don't know. If, I mean, I'm sure you're. I mean, if you're watching this, you're probably a wrestling dork, and you know that there's a love triangle going on of sorts. But yeah, they had the worst angle that they just kept trying to force feed us. Liv Morgan had thrown Rhea Ripley into the turnbuckle or the corner or whatever, and and dislocated her shoulder. So the rest of the match, she pretended her shoulder was dislocated, and and dude, it so it doesn't look dislocated. Like I've seen, if Daniel was here, he would vouch because he's dislocated his shoulder several times. That's not a dislocated shoulder. And then she does at one point she actually does the whole like movie thing where like she bashes her shoulder into something and you know like without concern for her own pain level and stuff just to relocate it. It it was campy. And then they just kept doing it over, and she kept dislocating it and relocating it herself. Like, hey, if you guys didn't see this, she just did this thing a few minutes ago. We're gonna do it again.
They want to make sure the people in the cheap seats can hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, "Oh my god, did you just see what she did?" I mean, they were really playing it up. But there was no good wrestling, and I'm not saying I know the women's division has come. I, I guess for me, since I was not at the beginning of like the real development and uprising of the women's division. To me, the women's division does look significantly better than it did however many 10, let's just say 10 years ago when I the last time maybe I watched wrestling with some consistency. But it's still not there. It's still not to the I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it's just not to the level of the men's wrestling. Even Sami Zayn's match, which puts me to sleep, is more athletically impressive to some extent than 99% of all the women's matches. But yeah, there was just no focus. Like, and I think both of those, I think Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, in my opinion, at least in the WWE, are some of the more entertaining female wrestlers. Like they have good athletic ability. They don't, they don't look lazy. But they were just they didn't have a script, I guess. And then I guess all they remembered was dislocate the shoulder. So they went with that three or four times in a row.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of the. I think I've heard different things before that, like, as far as how much of the match is actually scripted. I don't know if it's. I think some people go in there and they just say, okay, well, we know how the match is going to end, or we know that we want to, halfway through the match, we want to have them, get tied up in the ropes, or just whatever the highlight of the match is going to be, the finish.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think a lot of it is they just go in there and kind of like play it by ear. And then while they're in there, I think they talk to each other and say, okay, well, I'm gonna, now I'm gonna throw you on this turnbuckle and that sort of thing. That's kind of what I'm guessing, but yeah, I think there is like you said, like there's definitely is like a like just with almost any sport, it's like there's a power difference and there's like a weight class difference between like men and women, and it's hard to I think get the same like impact. I think sometimes I think
They
what
spent the I was gonna say they spent the first 4 minutes of Liv Morgan running out of the ring and then running back in the ring whenever Rhea Ripley would exit the ring to get her.
yeah
Like that's the level of we didn't have a plan. We
yeah
we really effed up like not meeting and at least talking about this before the match.
and see that kind of little gimmick is maybe funny like once. But if you
Yeah.
keep going that well over and over, and it's like, okay, come on, guys, like, what are we doing here, kind of thing.
Yeah, I was waiting for the crowd to like start like chanting boring. It was there. Like it was when I say it was boring, it was a boring match. The ending, like I was just like, okay, well, let's find out what happens between this their little triangle, like because at one point, Rhea Ripley was like during the match, they were really playing up the whole look. I have Dominic, and she's like, like seductively like kissing him and stuff like that. And then, spoiler alert, I guess for people, um, Dominic ends up screwing Rhea Ripley over during the match, and it turns out he gets with Liv Morgan, and like they like do like a like a ha ha look. I really was screwing you over the whole time. Kiss, and they leave. It was I don't know. It just it there. I would have introduced other people into the match. Um, they didn't even really have to fight; just have to be a presence there. There was a quite a few times when I was watching the event when I mean, I'm not a booker, so I mean, but there were some things to me that I think they left on the table that would have made the event a lot better.
Yeah,
Just simple stuff.
I had to go back and watch, the first half of it, but I know like I picked up that like around the Braun Breaker, Sami Zayn, and then I don't know which one of the ones it was, if it was the one directly after that, but I distinctly remember watching the Damian Priest and I think it was Gunther fight the
Yeah,
match. And
yeah.
well, before you get into that, let me get into something like the finish was like, huh? Like I was just like so thrown off because I just vaguely remember like I was confused because like Damian Priest he like threw Gunther down, and then like the finish of the match is that Damian Priest goes to cover him, but then like his friend who's like ringside, Finn Balor, like comes over and helps out Gunther by pulling his leg onto the ropes to break the count. But
Right.
you're watching it and the camera is like right by the ring, and you see like Damian Priest like clearly like lay down and like rolls Gunther over a couple times to like get him in
Like to get
place
him
for the
close enough to get him
yeah.
close enough to
And
the
I
ropes.
like man, they could have at least switched to a different camera while they were doing that, like or they could have like had the comment. They could have just To me, it's like, or I don't know if like Gunther was supposed to like roll over there on his own, he forgot to do it or something, but that was like it was awful because it was like the camera was right there, right by him, and it just you clearly see him like roll him over a couple times, and then you're supposed to believe that like right after that, when Finn Balor runs over there and like does that thing with the leg to break up, you're supposed to believe that Damian Priest is like furious, and it's like, well, how
I
can you
think
be furious?
I think yeah, exactly. I think that's a thing though, like you're saying about the with the camera angles. Um, I forgot who there was like I think it was like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was watching some some other show. It's not actually a wrestling show, but it was Steve Austin was on it, and he was talking about um he talked about some cameraman. It was either a cameraman or a guy in production. He goes, "Oh yeah, he was so great. He the way he would switch camera angles, it would really sell the hit." So I guess my guess is what he's saying is in wrestling, you know, they either do like a slap or they do or you know the forearm hit or whatever it is, and and I think the way they sell it is that they switch camera angles back and forth, so you don't actually ever see the impact, but you see the aftermath of
Yeah,
each thing. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about. Like they should have maybe like focused on Finn Balor for a second, and then switch back over to the match, and then oh well, he's right next to the rope.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
they could.
It's like on the fly production, like on the fly editing.
Like I saw a video one time, which I thought was pretty cool. Was like somebody was like teaching the way that they do like punches in wrestling. I
Yeah.
thought it was so interesting because they were saying that like back in the day that wrestlers used to sometimes practice by they get a shower curtain and they'd punch the shower curtain, and supposedly that's supposed to like force you to like you do the motion like with a lot of power behind it, but you're able to like you're able to make it look like you're following through with the punch, but the thinking is that you're not supposed to like move the shower curtain. So it's like
Oh,
you punch
okay.
the shower curtain really hard, but there's no impact. So it's like when you're doing it properly, it looks like you're punching it really hard, but the shower curtain shouldn't move at all. And they were showing like the way you do that is by like when you punch, like you punch and then like you like miss it on purpose, and you but you follow through, like I guess like in like redirecting your punch. Like that way you don't accidentally make contact with anything, and that's the way that you can like follow through with your punch to make them look believable, but you're not actually making contact with anybody.
Yeah, I like how during that match, we're talking about the camera angles and everything. I like how Finn they would show him like making like a menacing look like that, and then like minutes would go by, like you would look back, and he was like in the exact same place, just like making a menacing face. I was like, dude, you've been holding that look for a while now, and then like the match is over, and he's still there, like still doing that. And I noticed last night they did that several times. To to jump to the good stuff. I know a lot of people probably saw that Roman Reigns is back, and Roman Reigns just like hung out in the in the walkway for a while, like waiting for the camera guy to come back to him,
Yeah,
like standing there, like trying to be imposing or whatever. I was like, wow. I don't know. There was so much stuff left on the table with, and the cameras weren't working. Yeah, that was it wasn't a great event.
I
It was fun to watch, but production wise, like they left a lot on the table.
you know who I've actually like I was kind of not sure about them at first, but I'm actually starting to enjoy them as Logan Paul, if you can believe it. He's actually been pretty good. It's like
Yeah, I
you
think
almost,
that was the best. That was the
yeah,
best. That was the best performance.
yeah. I
Like
like
easily.
Logan Paul, and it was Logan Paul and LA Knight, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're good. They're good at at their craft.
yeah. Like I don't know if you saw, there was a part where Logan Paul like did like he jumped up onto the top rope and he did like a moonsault, and that's like pretty athletic. I mean, because he's doing moves that like even like that's even talented for like wrestlers to do, because you kind of forget that he wasn't from that background. He's like a social media like TV guy kind of. And you've seen other people like that have come before, like other celebrities have come, but usually they're like they kind of just phone it in. They're just like gimmick matches. But he's actually like seems to be putting in work. to be actually like doing athletic stuff. So I'll give him credit for that. And I do like his heel persona right now. And I think a lot of his matches they've had creative ways to like book them because they like incorporate that Prime stuff, like his brand or whatever, and then incorporate all like his entourage, his podcasting entourage.
Are those bottles full, or are they empty at the ringside?
I think
I
they're
know
actually
last
cool.
night. Yeah, yeah, because
Or yeah,
I think that some they sound like they're empty, but I could swear last night somebody opened one up,
he
didn't
did. He
they?
did. Maybe they have one set aside to be like used in the match or something. You know, like yeah. Because I now that you mention it, yeah. Because if they're like knocking them around, like what if they accidentally like, spilled open? There's like you know
There's
liquid
Prime all
beverage.
over the
Yeah.
ground. It's like that seems dangerous.
Which and I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I remember one time I went to go watch wrestling when I was visiting some relatives in Mexico, and the Mexican wrestling it was hilarious, man, because there was like the heel wrestler. He was like berating people, and he was all I don't know if this lady was a plant or what, but he was berating the audience. He was doing the typical like point his finger, berating the audience, and like when he walked by, there was like some old elderly grandma, like that she was like yelling at him, and he like marched over all like menacingly, and he got like to the barrier, and he started like yelling at her and scolding her and making a speaker, and she threw like I don't remember if it was water or like some kind of beverage, and then where he went over to talk to her some more, he like stepped on the liquid and he started slipping and sliding, but it was like he did it so comically and so like over animated that I'm almost sure it's like okay, this thing had to have been like the worst because he was like slipping all around and he was like almost like windmilling his arms backwards and stuff where he was like falling. And I thought about, I was like, you know what? Like he reacted so comically to it that I'm sure that was like somebody's grandma that told her, hey, halfway through the match, you gotta throw this water. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Like when I see like WWE, like even like was it that Primer stuff? Like that's sort of the sense I get whenever like you said, somebody I think it was Logan Paul, he like opened it up and he like smashed it on LA Knight's head at one point. It like juice spilled everywhere.
Yeah,
But
I heard that Stone Cold's beer is real. That he really gets pretty trashed while he's playing.
that's pretty
While
funny.
he's while he's wrestling. That's crazy.
Yeah. I always felt like he was doing like the Cookie Monster kind of thing because I don't know if you've ever noticed like Cookie Monster when he's like eating cookies, they're like breaking and they're all like falling off to the side. It just kind of gives
Yeah,
you a
yeah,
weird
yeah.
feeling. And I always thought that's what he was doing because it looks like a bunch spills off the side of his cheeks and stuff when
Well,
he's
yeah, I'm sure he doesn't drink the whole thing, but
yeah,
if he's drinking even like a quarter of it,
yeah,
he drinks like a whole 6 pack
yeah,
easily, like
yeah,
during a
you're right.
match. Yeah, he's at least down like 3 or 4 total of those beers. It's quite a bit. I'm
Yeah,
sure my math's wrong, but
no, yeah,
regardless, he's sitting there just like, getting smashed.
yeah. And I don't know if you saw the Stephanie McMahon was there also like an audience.
Yeah, I caught that briefly. I was warming up something in the kitchen. Like I was warming up some food, and when I walked back in, they were talking about her, and she was sitting in the crowd. I saw the post show. Somebody asked Triple H like if she was back with the WWE, if she had some sort of role now, and he said no. But um, I'm just curious like how that got set up because I didn't see how they got to Stephanie on the screen to begin with. Maybe you
They
could fill
just
in the gap.
they just cut to her and then she was like waved high at the screen and like she mouthed something like, but it was just kind of like she was acting like she was like rooting the event on, but it was kind of like over rooting because of course she's probably like still invested financially in like the company doing well,
Yeah,
so she's like over
I'm
rooting a
tired.
little bit.
Yeah, I'm tired. I don't mind seeing people in the crowd because I think that's cool. I mean, it's just like it's like UFC fights. There's always celebrities. There's always celebrities there. But in WWE, I'm honestly I'm getting kind of tired of celebrities being there. Now they all want to interact. I saw Jelly Roll get in
Yeah.
the ring. He like choke slammed somebody, and they messed up their choreography with their five knuckle shuffle.
Yeah.
The whole thing was botched. It looked bad. And I heard somebody said something um about some people who were non wrestlers being in the ring, and while the ring itself a solid um is a solid structure. It's not padded. It is bouncy. And when Jelly Roll was in there, I don't know what he was doing, but like everybody was going. It looked like they were on a trampoline the whole time.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was bizarre. I was just like, oh wow, like nobody bothered to tell this guy, please don't jump up and down like that.
I think I might have been either loading the washing machine at that time, or I might be doing something. I remember hearing that, but I don't remember seeing the visual of that. So I was doing something in the background, I think, during that
Yeah,
part.
and then some like skinny like meth head guy who I didn't recognize. I didn't know no idea who he was. Interfered in the LA Knight
They said
Logan Paul match. Who was that guy?
they said he was he said he's like a rapper and he's some part of Logan Paul's entourage. I think he's like from I think they're from Cleveland. I think
Uh
Logan Paul's from Cleveland. I think that was what they were saying, and I think that that's what actually what the event was at was in Cleveland. And I want to say it was
yeah,
like
it was.
like a hometown rapper, but I haven't heard of the guy. I don't know if he's connected to the Logan Paul podcast or he's some rapper that we're supposed to know that you know you and I don't know because he's from a different time maybe or something, or maybe he's just like
Yeah,
a C-list rapper. I don't know.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, that he was. Yeah, honestly, I saw him in the crowd earlier, and he immediately stood out, mostly because he was tall and he was wearing like a bunch of like douchey clothes.
Yeah,
But when he got in the ring, I was like, "Holy jeez, this dude, this dude looks like prime example of why not to do drugs. Like
he's the
show
type
kids,
to
hey,
wear those pants like the ones I showed you earlier from Target.
yeah, exactly. He would tell you they're not distressed enough.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, that
the type of guy that his jeans are so distressed that he's actually like inappropriate. You can like see parts of his underwear and stuff.
yeah, no doubt. Like his nails were all painted up, but that wasn't really caught my eye because I've seen dudes who have like painted nails and stuff. This dude look it may be a false memory, but it looked like he had like bling on his nails and stuff. I was like, wow,
I
this
didn't
dude's
see that.
going like 300%.
I didn't see that. That's funny. I thought you
Yeah,
were gonna say he had
it was a
bling around his
lot.
neck. Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, yeah, he was trying too hard. I don't know if he decided, hey, I wonder what that conversation was like before he like left the house that day. Like, dude, what am I gonna wear to SummerSlam?
he
Ha-
had to do it up. Yeah,
he's like asking his friends, "Do I wear this? Should I wear that?" And he was like, "Dude, just wear everything.
I wear those jeans with those
Just wear it all."
you still
Yeah.
you still have those jeans with those bedazzled gems on them. Like, yeah, wear that. No, it's funny. Yeah,
don't bring don't dude, just wear the shirt too. Just wear it all.
that's funny. I actually, I think that match. Aside from that, I think that match was pretty good. And the Damian Priest Gunther one, I thought was it wasn't too great. I mean, I was a little bit distracted, I think, when I was watching that one, but I thought the finish was really kind of sloppy because, like you said, or like we said that they shouldn't have shown that on the camera. And then I don't remember it was the
Yeah.
other one was like Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. I think was the one that what Seth Rollins was the referee.
Yeah. I
That
really don't remember much of the wrestling in that match either. I remember them like having their little conflicts in between,
the only thing
but
I
they made CM Punk look like really like unaware, like excuse me, completely like unaware of what was happening. Do you know what I mean with the
yeah
whole like what? Why do you have that on? Why do you? Why do you? and he's clearly explaining to him. He's like, "Well, you left it on the ground. I was just picking it up." And he's like,
Yeah,
"Why?" And he would just like rage out of control. And
I
I
was
was,
gonna
oh,
say
okay.
that's honestly that's one of my favorite parts of pro wrestling is like when you can pick up the like they play it off like you're picking up like incidental audio from like the going on in the match, but it's clearly
Mhm.
like you're supposed to hear it because it like advances the storyline, which I
Yeah.
always like it because it's like real super campy and it's real super like it can't be subtle. You know what I said earlier about making sure that people in the cheap seats can hear it is there's kind of some truth to it because like they can't be subtle with like the things they're communicating, so they have to end up doing like what you're talking about. They have to over like be overly like goofy and overly kind of like cartoonish and slapstick about like the way they do things. Like when you hear people interact like that in the ring, they'll like you said they'll what? Why did that happen? But they have to do it in such a like amplified way so that you know people like their spectators can like see it, but it's like comes across like real overacting kind of thing. And I think that's where I
Well,
remember seeing that in that match.
well, what you would call it? The ref lost the ref cam during that whole scuffle or whatever. And I remember him kicking it out of the ring. And I was thinking, wow, like you're gonna miss the money shot here. And
One of my favorite things I've ever seen, like in a pro wrestling match, a referee do is like, first off, I love the way that like whenever they get like bumped into, they always like over dramatically like fall and they're like holding their head and they can't get up for a long time.
yeah,
But I also like whenever like I've seen a couple times in the matches whenever like they're counting like 1, 2, 3, and they're like they'll get to the 2 count, and someone will jump up on the apron like a bad guy or something like that, and the referee will stop and get up and go over there and start like scolding them and
scolding
start,
them.
like,
Yeah,
start wagging their finger at them and stuff.
that happened several times last night. That's how Dominic distracted the ref
Yes.
so that so Liv could take advantage and hit Rhea Ripley.
The other part I thought was funny about that Seth Rollins referee thing was that there was one part where I think CM Punk had Drew McIntyre pinned, and freaking audience was actually started doing the like since the start had encountered already, the audience started doing the count, and they got all the way up to like a 6 count before the referee even got in there and started counting. And I just thought it's so comical because it's like it's so over the top, but it's comical because they're like making a narrative. So I take it for what it is, like I told people before that like I kind of feel like there's like a crossover between like Tyler Perry movies and like wrestling. I don't know if you ever watched a Tyler Perry movie. Like,
You're gonna have to explain that to me because I've never seen a Tyler Perry movie.
okay,
I've only ever seen advertisements for it.
well, if you ever get a chance to watch, honestly, like I should teleparty you one of these days because like some of these movies are amazing. But like a lot of the movies, they kind of like the characters, and I mean I love the movies, but at the same time, some of the characters are like they're a little like simplistic. So
Hmm.
like whenever you see a character on a Tyler Perry movie, which you know is supposed to be a bad guy, he'll be like a banker, and he'll like have like fancy clothes and like sunglasses on, and like he'll be telling a kid to scram or something like that. That comes up to
That's
him.
just like every bank. It's just like every time I go to the bank, I always see that guy.
Yeah, and then like there's one movie where I loved where they have the like it's always like the love interest is like some like pure like there's one where I think the guy's like a bus driver, and like it's
Hmm.
always like and you can always tell it's almost like a Harlequin romance novel sort of thing because the guy who's supposed to be the love interest, the guy who's supposed to be the good guy, they always happen to have like some guys who are like real super jacked. They have huge like biceps. They look like romance novel like characters, but they're like I think there's one movie where they have him like guy being a bus driver, and it's just like they do little kind of like cartoonish, like real simplistic like storylines. And what I'm getting at is that wrestling kind of has to communicate the same way. They have to like over broadcast the characters. They have to like over exaggerate the characters, and I think it's because they have to like
So
uh,
if you didn't know that this guy's bad, now you
exactly
do.
That's how you can tell. Like, yeah, like I've seen like I think the Bloodline sometimes they come out. Some of these guys come out, and that's like they got the classic like villain archetype where they got like all black clothes, they got their hair slicked back, and they're wearing sunglasses, and they're just like, well, yeah, you're pretty much announcing you're a bad guy. I mean, like, can you imagine if you dressed like that like on the real world, and you actually were a bad guy?
Yeah, I would just think that's one of those like those weird cosplayer guys. That's all I would think.
Yeah.
Who's this dork walking in?
Like the guy from Grandma's Boy, the guy who's like always he's always dressed like he's
Yeah,
from the
that's
'80s.
exactly who I was thinking of. That's exactly who I was thinking of. Oh my god, that's crazy. So yeah, like that's all. It's obviously that's the stereotype right there. Yeah, yeah. I, I think every match from last night had its own thing. You know, like I said, some were kind of athletic and this and that. Surprisingly, you know, the Bailey versus Nia Jax, that one again, you know, again, it's not the greatest display of athleticism, or I'm not really even interested in their storyline. But I do think the way she won with Tiffany Stratton or whatever coming down, and you hear the "It's Tiffy time" like music kick in. It actually kind of got me a little hyped. I was like, oh okay. So this was boring, but now it's interesting. What's going on? It was cool, like seeing her like really come like rush down there, and she looked like she was like really into it,
Yeah,
rushing down like pushing the referee along with her Money in the Bank suitcase in hand. I was like, oh, I'm buying this, and
yeah,
I thought it was it seemed like a logical use of like what a heel would might actually do, which is act like they're gonna like interrupt the match and just enough to distract the person they're trying to distract, which
yeah,
is in this case Bailey, uh to get to the Nia Jax could, you know, get the upper hand. And
yeah,
I found that actually to be the most interesting. I found that to be more interesting, unfortunately, more so than Roman Reigns, how he re-entered.
yeah,
I feel like it took too long for him to come out after his music kicked in, and then all he did was just kind of come out, kind of walking kind of
yeah.
slow, like
They wanted to milk
and
you, but it was too low energy, probably. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Like I thought it would have been cooler is if the music had kicked in without I'm not sure if his music it would have worked better if his music kicked in first, but if Paul Heyman would have come out first,
yeah,
and then like, you know, like Paul Heyman comes out like kind of like with a swagger,
yeah,
you know, the swagger he has, and then Roman Reigns come in behind him. Like
yeah,
I keep waiting for the return of like Brock Lesnar to be that way or something.
yeah,
Paul Heyman coming out and Brock like jumps out. That would sell. But and then he, you know, he slow walked the whole time. I think would have been great because I saw a guy wearing the tribal chief necklace. I think it would have been a great sell if they had had a plant like go like hand it to him, and he would have put it on.
yeah,
That would have like that to me that would have hyped up
yeah,
that moment. That would have hyped up that moment. He just put it back on, and then he started walking, and then he continued his walk down. That would have saved that moment of pop, because the pop was like it was there, but it was just the music, and after
yeah.
that he took so long to come.
Yeah, and then it seemed almost like it didn't seem surprising to me because even though I didn't like know he was gonna be there, when the music started, like I already knew, like, oh, like I figured he's gonna come back at some. I would have been more surprised if someone else would have come out to like his music. I would have been like, that would have felt like it was throwing me for a curve. I think this one wasn't like it was a surprise, but I even saw like a bunch of signs in the audience like that people like knew that
He
or
was
they
back.
expected that he was coming back. Yeah, so I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
this is a surprise.
I saw some posts about him coming back at the at at SmackDown, that he was going to come back at SmackDown. I don't know. I know it's hard to keep those sort of things under wraps, but you really need to if you really want that pop.
Yeah.
Like you really need to have some sort of something. Like maybe the music came out and Paul Heyman would have come out instead, and then he would have come out from like behind like the announcer table. That would have been
Yeah.
good. That could have been good. But like I said, there's I'm not a booker. I kind of wish now I kind of wish that that would have been something I could have gone down.
Yeah. Like they could have sent Paul Heyman
But
out, and then Solo could have like grabbed Paul Heyman by like the shirt collar and like been kind of menacing, threatening him, and all of a sudden like the lights turned
the
down or
music,
something, and it turned back on, and it's the Roman Reigns music. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And then they would have cut the Solo Sokoa and like the bloodline in the ring, and they're like overselling it, like where their jaws are like shaking and shit and chattering kind of thing, and they're like got their eyes rolled
yeah.
wide. I
And then
think it
he's just he just
real good
started spearing. He just started spearing everybody.
shit.
Yeah, it would have been good,
Yeah.
or whatever. It's just yeah, it didn't sell. I
Yeah.
felt bad. I kind of felt bad because it felt like a waste of his return. And honestly, his shirt said OTC, and I was like, what is that? What is that? What does
Yeah.
that mean? Is that like his company? And I was like, what does that stand? I had to wait till the post show
Yeah.
for someone
Exactly.
to explain it to me.
And they, I don't know if you remember, but they explained it to it like, well, honestly, it means this. And it's like, well, it didn't seem obvious
Oh,
to me.
yeah, exactly. I didn't catch it. I mean, it
Yeah.
makes sense, but I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
he should have
I
came in
understand.
wearing the necklace, or
Yeah.
like I said, had a plant. Him act like, oh yeah, I'll take that, and then he
Yeah.
just put it on, because then it looks like, yeah, my people recognize me,
Yeah.
and then he hold his hand up, and then everybody in the ring, everybody in the crowd would have done the one finger, would have done the one finger up.
I think they tried to make a swerve when he came in, and I think they wanted to make it seem like he might attack Cody Rhodes because I think like if I remember correctly, like he did the Superman punch, but he almost like did he did almost did like a redirection in midair and like to hit Solo Sokoa. Like, do you remember that?
Oh, yeah,
That's what they were trying to do, but
I do
yeah,
vaguely. No. Maybe you had the volume turned down, but the announcers were saying, "Is he here for Cody Rhodes, or maybe he's here for Solo Sokoa?" And I was
you
like, "Really, guys? Come
you
on."
telling me that I got caught up in the hustle?
Oh, I forgot. I was confused, and I didn't think I didn't know who he was coming down for. That's right. He does have beef with Cody.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they said he had this. Because Cody, he took the thing that's most important to
yeah.
him. And I was like,
Well, that's
okay,
another thing too. Is if they wanted to make
that's
that
right.
plausible, what they should have done was they should have had they should have made it to where like I don't know, maybe he came in when Cody had the upper hand or something like that. And
Yeah, that was the other thing. No, Cody did have the upper hand. I think.
I don't
I
remember,
think
but it
he. I think Cody had the upper hand, and I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why is he coming down now? It would make more sense if he come down when Solo Sokoa had the upper hand.
but
But then again, but I didn't realize that they were going to try to sell the
Yeah,
misdirection.
yeah, I think that's what it was. They were trying to sell a misdirection. It had they want people to think like, oh, is he gonna? Or they wanted to make it seem like it was like, is he a good guy now or is he a bad guy? And like when he hit Solo Sokoa, it's kind of like solidifies that he's a good guy. But it was kind of sloppy because, like you said, he took too long to come out, and by the time that he's down in the ring, you already know he's there to confront Solo. And that's the only way that the storyline can naturally move forward is by him having that that conflict with Solo Sokoa and maybe they'll make it somehow extended by making it to like he and Cody have to like help each other out, and then they don't trust each other kind of thing, and then there's friction between them kind of thing. Like, but yeah, no, I mean, otherwise, I thought it was pretty good just because I like when they have the pay-per-views at the outdoor venues because I like how it gets
Yeah, I
nice.
heard you say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It always makes me feel hot for some reason. As I'm
Well, it is.
watching it,
Yeah,
yeah, it makes me feel hot.
because there's no air conditioning. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I don't like that. I like my air conditioning.
well, if I was attending one, yeah, I would want it to be like in an air conditioning stadium. But I'm saying watching it
Oh,
as a fan or as
so,
a
so
viewer at home.
you don't mind watching everybody else suffer.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a as long as I'm okay, it's like yeah, let's go ahead and like not close the dome. Let's not go not put any air conditioning. Like yeah, No, but I like that it like I like the whole way that like the sky you can sort of see it get darker and darker, and then at the end of the night it's like the nighttime matches. I've always liked that, but like I said, I'm not actually out there at the stadium like roasting in the sun watching this thing live. So, but um, other than that, man, I like I said, it's been a while since I've gotten into wrestling. Also, I started around the pandemic, and I drop out of it sometimes, and sometimes honestly, like I watch a few minutes of it, and then I just like don't watch the rest of it. So it's like it's real hit or miss for me. But for me, I think some of like the timeless things about wrestling, the overacting, the cartoonish like characters or storylines and stuff, like sort of always appeals to me. And I think I got a good dose of that on the pay per view on Saturday. So overall I'm pleased with what I saw. You know, and plus they're free anyways on Peacock. So it
Yeah,
is what it is.
there's definitely a charm to wrestling that's a bit of an acquired taste to some people, but we've been consuming it since we were kids. So
Yeah, well, it's funny because it's kind of goofy, but it's like funny too because I always feel like there's something to be gleaned also from watching wrestling because the way the guys like over communicate their things, it's like yeah, it's cartoonish, but it has to be cartoonish because it has to be like it has to be a performance in front of like a lot of people, and you have to get that across to like I mean I joke around saying people in the cheap seats, but it's kind of the
no,
truth of it. It's like it has to be everything has to be larger than life in order to
no, it's like watching a play.
yeah
Like it's exactly like watching a play. I was trying I was you know my some of my family has recently started watching it along with me, and I think they kind of caught on to that because I was like, oh, it's just like it's no different than watching any other play you've ever seen. It's all just like, but instead of whatever instead of whatever show it is that you think it's going to be, it's like a fake wrestling match, for lack of a better term, that you're going to
yeah.
watch, and then it's
But
interesting. There's drama. There's backstabbing. I still enjoy it as an adult. Um, there's definitely a balance that sells, that's palatable to a lot of people, that they've they found they I think they found that balance pretty well over the years.
yeah, well, you know, it's it's changing a little bit because you can see like that they do a lot more like I don't know if you noticed, but they do a lot more like advertising in the rings now. Like they do a lot more like product placement. Like
Yeah, I've never seen so much advertisement in my life. They
yeah,
had that whatever that phone company is,
yeah,
smartphone. I don't. Yeah, the whole ring was green, and it baffled me. You know what I do miss now that they've done that is they can't just randomly go underneath the ring and grab stuff because there's a big screen in the way.
yeah. But that's the new company that owns WWE. That's like one of the changes I remember reading that they wanted to do is they wanted to start because supposedly
Advertising more.
before yeah, supposedly before with Vince McMahon, it was like considered sacred space, like the ring. Like you weren't supposed to have any kind of advertising and stuff, or you weren't supposed to have any like logos and stuff on the wrestling ring. But I guess once they got bought up by a new company, they kind of said, "Hey, you know, there's an opportunity to make money here. We have investors. We have to like do this." So, but
Yeah, it's distracting for a second, but
yeah,
honestly, I forget it's there.
yeah. I was gonna say I don't have too much of a problem with it. It's not too intrusive to like the experience. So I mean, and if it keeps the company solvent, then it's like yeah, I'm all for it. You know, so.
Yeah.
But hey man, I was great catching up with you, and I know it's getting late over on your side. Well, actually, both of our sides are in the same time zone, but um, I appreciate you stopping by, man, and I appreciate you getting back to me on your experience watching SummerSlam, and also appreciate you looking over those jeans with me. That we had a good laugh on the clearance section at Target. So
Yeah, I'll have to find my distressed jeans somewhere,
yeah, maybe you can get them
and
on camera next time,
bring them on the next show
or maybe you
for
could even be
sure.
wearing them. Yeah.
No, I don't think I'll fit into those. I was 20 back then. I was a
Yeah.
lot thinner.
Well, either way, man, like I said, we'll come up with some more ideas that have. I want to see if we can do a teleparty, and there's some couple clips that I think that we can probably do. I don't know if Daniel and everybody else wants to jump on, and then we'll try to see what we can figure out. But for now, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off, and we'll go ahead and make this the end of this podcast, and we'll catch everybody else whenever we get back on. So see
Yeah,
you guys soon.
yeah. Well, there's your five knuckle shuffle.